Next speaker, keynote speaker, is an individual I know very well. It's Judge Jim Griffith, Oneida County Family Court. He's been presiding judge there for 12 years. I've argued hundreds of cases in front of him over those 12 years, and despite that fact, he still agreed to come here tonight. So I don't think there's any problem there. At least I'll find out tomorrow morning, I suppose. Jim is a native of Rome. He's an Eagle Scout. When he was in scouting, he was a member of the Order of the Arrow. He earned the Protestant Religious Award, God and Church. He is the founder and presiding judge of the nationally recognized Family Drug Treatment Court. Please give a warm December greeting to Judge Griffith.
Thank you, John. Welcome, everybody. It's a great honor for me to be here. I just want to start out by saying my grandfather was a minister. He was well known for giving powerful, short sermons, and he explained to me his secret was that he knew that no souls were saved after 9 minutes. And so I just want you to know that I've taken that to heart, and I hope that Reverend Height does as well. And so I come by it honestly, and I'd like to start out by quoting the old book, "No greater love has a man than this, than he will risk his life for his brothers." Adlai Stevenson, twice the Democratic nominee for president in the 1950s, once said something that I've been thinking about many times over the last years. He said, "Sometimes harder than understanding life's great complexities is understanding life's great simplicities." And what we have here is a simple and great story. Two young men, having just seen a car strike another young man in traffic, put aside considerations of their own safety, and ran into that same deadly traffic to protect the defenseless. What great simplicities are part of this story? I would say first, it is the importance of the humble and often abused motto, "Be prepared." Basketball coach Bobby Knight, whom I do not admire in all things, but once wisely said that a competitor in a game has the will to win, but a champion has the will to prepare to win. What he meant was that all the desire to excel will not prevail without the hard-earned skills to prevail. Preparation for excellence requires study, training, and practice. The simple fact is that preparation is rarely exciting, but it is always the necessary foundation for skill and excellence. The simple and great truth here is that Brian and Dale were prepared. They were prepared to save a life. In Shakespeare's Lear, he says, "The readiness is all." But that's not quite true. The preparation itself would not have been enough. This achievement would not have come about without another great, simple virtue, that a scout is brave. Brian and Dale's skills would have meant nothing if they had not, against all reason, run into traffic. It may be hard to understand this great simplicity, maybe even for Brian and Dale. I don't know whether it was a quick decision on their part, or possibly even an unthinking instinct born of scout training to protect those in need. There is another, and perhaps more subtle, but important bravery here as well. These young men resisted the meddling of well-intentioned adults to move Jerry, which Brian and Dale knew, and we all know now, would almost certainly have killed this young man. Not to acquiesce when an adult says to do something, that takes another kind of bravery, born of self-confidence and preparedness. As Lincoln might have said, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right. In a certain way, I think Brian and Dale were lucky. They have been tested, and they have met the challenge. They will always have the confidence and satisfaction which they richly earned that day. Most of us will never have that kind of ultimate test, And sometimes I feel, I guess mostly I feel, I am just as happy for it. I'm not sure how I would respond. But Scouting's teaching of preparedness and bravery also have application in every day of our lives, even if not so dramatically. Putting in the work to study, to train, to practice will result in excellence in the classroom, in the courtroom, and in all of our endeavors. And bravery exists and is important in such small ways as having the courage not to laugh at ugly ethnic jokes or racial slurs, not to go along with the taunting of unpopular or the less fortunate, even when one's fellows are prepared to laugh or to do nothing. It takes courage to ignore the teasing or possible scorn of others and to practice the discipline of doing a good thing for someone every day. Surely that is bravery too. Finally, what end do these great and mysteriously simple qualities serve? I think it is something that we could legitimately call love. The ancient Greeks had 3 words which we now sometimes translate as love. The first I would bring up is philia, which means a special interest or a fascination with something, like a bibliophile loves books. They also had a word, eros, which of course means sexual desire. And I think it is neither prudent nor necessary for me to elaborate further on that. But the third word is agape. And that is, of course, something else. In the New Testament, this is the word that Jesus used to describe the virtue that rises above all others. The King James Bible translates agape as charity. But nowadays, charity has acquired, unfortunately, a somewhat more cramped meaning, particularly giving a gift to those less fortunate. In the New Testament, agape is usually now translated as love, but with the meaning of a well-intentioned concern. Love as recognizing the importance of another person's happiness, or significantly, safety or well-being. Love as putting someone else first. Love as being selfless. And isn't it the point of teaching young men to be prepared and brave and trustworthy and loyal and courteous? Aren't these qualities a demonstration of that greatest virtue of all, a well-intentioned concern for our fellow man? And so I will end where I began. No greater love has a man than this, that he will risk his life for his brothers. And so it is fitting and proper that we thank God that Jared is still composing the story of his life. We thank God for Brian and Dale, who made that possible. We thank God for their parents, who raised such fine young men. We thank God for the John Kozlowskis and Bill Kozlowskis and Jim Heights of this world, who serve in the Boy Scouts of America to nurture these wonderful young men and these ancient virtues which will help them all their lives. We thank God for this exceptional country, this country which produces exceptional heroism, this country where we look out for each other. Thank you very much.